One of the most significant archaeological sites associated with the Nazca culture. And you can see just how much it retains the smooth exterior of the plaster. One of the most notable artifacts he did find, the largest single piece of cloth ever woven in the Western Hemisphere, in addition to indications of human sacrifice. And you can see some of the heads that were discovered at the site. Has led to theorizing that some of the Nazca Lines were designed during those journeys of pilgrimage. Many comments have expressed thanks for showing the more obscure sites that people may not have had a chance to get to thus far. And that's another goal of the channel, to give you a first-hand experience of some of these sites. So don't forget to hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. And with that, let's take a look at Cahuachi. Located in the arid deserts of southern Peru, is one of the most significant archaeological sites associated with the Nazca culture, Cahuachi. Often said to be the capital city of the Nazca culture, evidence suggests that it was actually not a city at all. Instead, these monumental Adobe structures served as a ceremonial and pilgrimage site. The site itself had continuous occupation from approximately 400 BCE to 450 CE and provides invaluable insights into the spiritual and ritualistic practices of the Nazca people. Although bustling with activity when utilized, Cahuachi was not a site of sustained residential life. There's actually little evidence of domestic activity, such as housing or marketplaces, which one would expect in a traditional city. There is, however, an area to the side of the Great Temple that is thought to have been for residential purposes. However, it would only accommodate a small number of people, and it is therefore assumed that those living in those quarters were likely the caretakers of the site. Walking through this corridor, it's easier to see the individual adobe bricks responsible for the construction of this incredible monument. Archaeologists have attributed construction to being completed in 5 phases, the very first of which has been dated to approximately 400 to 200 BCE, and this estimate is not based on the dating of artifacts or remains. It is based on the stratigraphy of geological layers that formed the initial foundation where large walls were discovered. Subsequent phases would see the addition of adobe mud brick in the creation of various temples, rooms, and plazas. These adobe mud bricks were then covered in a plaster material mixed from locally sourced elements. And you can see just how much of the exterior of this site still retains the smooth exterior of the plaster, housing the adobe brick underneath. This is in part due to the arid environment preserving these structural conditions. The central pyramid, known as the Great Pyramid, has a base of 150 by 100 meters, and it's almost 30 meters tall. In 1952, archaeologist William Duncan Strong from Columbia University conducted excavations, and he wrote in his journal how disappointed he was that he wasn't finding exceedingly rich burials at the site. Instead, one of the most notable artifacts he did find was the largest single piece of cloth ever woven in the Western Hemisphere. Unfortunately, the procedural execution of their excavation tore it in a few places, but putting those large pieces together that were found, it was estimated that this one unified piece of cloth was between 164 to 200 feet long. There were a few rooms in a particular area of this site that is thought to have perhaps been a workshop for weaving, as excavations found various instruments and tools used to make textiles, like spindles, dyes, cotton, threads. There were burials found at the site, but nothing as magnanimous as Strong had clearly hoped. Several burials, though, were found in rooms, but they were set up in a ritualistic manner, typically with offerings and trophy heads. Trophy heads were the heads of vanquished enemies. This was in addition to indications of human sacrifice, and you can see some of the heads that were discovered at Cahuachi here. Another archaeologist who excavated Cahuachi in the 1980s, Helene Silverman, postulated that Cahuachi was the destination of several ceremonial pilgrimages that took place during certain times of the year, and these pilgrimages involved traversing the vast Nazca Desert. This consideration has led to theorizing that some of the Nazca Lines pointed people or directed them to the ceremonial center. A similar theory was echoed by Dr. Ed Barnhart in my interview with him, that perhaps these lines were designed during those journeys of pilgrimage by the people coming to and from this religious center. There are still occasionally active excavations happening at the site of Cahuachi, and as you could see, you're limited to a small walking path when you go visit the site. It is certainly an impressive feat of construction, and it's a testament to the spiritual significance and architectural genius of the Nazca culture. The reasons for Cahuachi's decline remain the subject of debate, and while many factors indicate environmental shifts such as drought that perhaps led to the abandonment of the site, other research suggests that other rivaling political centers and the rise of other factions around the 7th century CE contributed to the decline of the site. New research has been conducted within the past decade using advanced imaging and ground-penetrating technologies, and these have identified underground structures like plazas, walls, and tombs. So it's definitely a piece of history and a site that we should keep our eyes on to see what developments may come from new research and further excavations. If you're interested in supporting the Pillars of the Past mission to document newly discovered and forgotten ancient locations, there's a ton of ways to do that, and all of those will be linked in the description below. As always, thank you for watching, and I'll catch you in the next video.